So my name is Tan. Thank you for joining us for the recent Kumi Now online gathering. If you're new here and would like to learn more about Kumi Now or Sabio, I did provide some links in the chat and I'm happy to provide it again. Although I see a lot of our regular folks here. Our topic today will be on children's rights, and we're joined by Malik from DCI Palestine. So she's with us in the room now. The first part of our meeting will be dedicated to our guest, but please stay around after she leaves, as we will hopefully be dedicating the rest of the hour to turning our knowledge into action as we engage in advocacy for Palestine. Before we start, I'd like to remind you that the session is being recorded. It's going to be a private link, so if you have access to the newsletter, you can access that after, but just for security reasons, we don't want to publicly publish it too widely. And please, during the meeting, to make sure to have your mic off. And if you have an opportunity to speak during the webinar, please raise your hand, or you can also write your questions in the chat. And then after Malak speaks, we'll have a Q&A session. And then so you can put your questions in the chat there, and I'll make sure to relay it to her. So before Malak starts, I want to just introduce her. Malik Saeed is an advocacy officer for children's rights at the Defense for Children International Palestine. And she has a background in politics, international law, and human rights. She is committed to promoting and protecting the rights of children and marginalized groups, with a focus on raising awareness about the human rights violations endured by Palestinian children. So we're very honored to have her represent DCI Palestine and speak on this topic today. Malik, I should have given you permission to share your screen, so whenever you're ready, feel free to start.
Thank you, Than, and thanks everyone for dedicating your time to listen to our session and to hear about the suffering of Palestinian children. I'll share the screen now. I think you can see it. Yes? Good. Let me just drop this. Send. Okay. So, since we are speaking about the Palestinian situation and specifically the suffering of Palestinian children, unfortunately, the grave violations of Palestinian human rights of children, I'd like to focus more about the most significant violations that are happening at the current events. As you may all know, what is going on in the occupied Palestinian territory, not only Gaza, but also West Bank and East Jerusalem. But before jumping up to my topic, I'd like to give a quick introduction to DCIB if any one of you didn't hear about our organization before. Basically, Defense for Children International Palestine is a section of Defense for International section, and it's one of the 38 sections around the world. It became an independent human rights organization focusing on defending the rights of children and detecting its efforts and promoting the rights of children who are living in the occupied Palestinian territory. Basically, DCIB started its work more than 30 years, around 1991, and it has investigated, documented, exposed the grave human rights violations against children in the occupied Palestinian territory, West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem, and also provided legal services for children who are in much need for this services. What is the most important about our work and our mission is that we held both Israelis and Palestinians authorities accountable to the universal human rights principles and laws. So we can say that our basic mission is to defend the children who are being arrested, detained, prosecuted in the Israeli military court system, and also the Palestinian, not only Israeli, monitoring and documenting killing and injuring children in the occupied Palestinian territories, and also advocating about these cases. Fourth, empowering these children to be a positive change in their agents, positive change, positive agents in their communities. And finally, what we are always do is to keep you informed about the situation of Palestinian children and the violations of human rights against them, so you can take action in your countries and to pressure your policymakers. Speaking about the violations, of course, as you can see from the media and everything is publishing, the violations are uncountable of what children are facing. But what are the most violations that are happening right now is the detention of Palestinian children in the OPT, the right of survival, killing and maiming Palestinian children, depriving their right from education. And the last two are mainly, let's say, that the most trending violations that are happening right now in OPT, using children as a human shields and torturing the Palestinian families by withholding the bodies of Palestinian deceased children. I'll jump up to each violation. Basically, first, the detention. So despite the situation of detaining children, let's be clear that despite the guilt or innocence of the child that committed, these children are entitled to special protection, which are built upon two fundamental principles in the International Juvenile Justice, which is the best interest of the child must be a primary concern in making a decision that affect them. And also, children can be detained only to be deprived from liberty as a last resort for a shortest amount of time and period. Speaking about the detention system, so basically, before jumping up to what children are facing in the system, I'd like to highlight more about the systems that occurs in the West Bank and East Jerusalem specifically. So in 1967, after the Six-Day War, and we say it as Palestinians, and next day war, the Israeli authorities established two separated laws that differentiates between the illegal settlers who are living in the illegal settlements established in the West Bank, and also the Palestinians who are living in the Palestinian communities in the West Bank. So basically, the differentiation between those two is based on the nationality and the ethnicity of the individual. So it's the sole factor that determines which law is compliant to you. So the Israeli civil law basically ensures and enhances the fair trial and full fundamental rights, which is applied to the Israeli settlers who are living in the illegal settlements and outposts according to the international law. And on the other hand, the Israeli military law, which fails to ensure the fundamental human rights for Palestinians who are living in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. I'd like to just move back for a while to show you this map on the right. So this map shows the distribution of the military courts, integration centers, and prisons that children are being subjected and held in these places. Speaking about military courts, there is two, Aufar and Salem, which is, I'm gonna move for the next slide, sorry. So about the juvenile courts, as I mentioned, there is two courts that the children are being prosecuted in. The first one is Ofar Military Court, which is located between Ramallah and Jerusalem on the borders of 1967. And there is Salem Military Court, which is located in the northern parts of West Bank, close to Jenin City. And these basically the courts that the children are being prosecuted and after that held in the Israeli detention centers and prisons. And unfortunately, in these two systems, as you can see from the name, military court, that shows that unfortunately the structure of these courts, the judges, the prosecutors are active members in the Israeli military or Israeli forces. So that means that they used to be soldiers, commanders, or working in the military offices. And of course, this contradicts, or let's say, a grave breach of international human rights law that states and ensures a fair trial can only occur under independent and impartial system. So these are basically the stages of the detention that the Palestinian children are facing after being detained. To mention before, this IB is collecting affidavits and testimonies from children who have been detained and released, and others who were detained and still in the Israeli detention centers. So after many, or let's say a process of collection of these informations, we figure out to have these 5 stages, which starts with the arrest. So the arrest happens most of the time during the night and the early hours of the morning. And most of the times the children are not being told of their rights after being detained, also the reason of being detained. During this time, they've been subjected to physical violence, torture, blindfolded, handcuffed, deprived from their basic rights, such as having water, food, and sanitation. And then the second stage happens, which is transferring these children by a military vehicle to the police station or integration centers. In the transferment, unfortunately, the children are being transferred in the military vehicles that are not equipped, or let's say having furniture that compliant with the needs of the children. And most of the time, the children are being surrounded with soldiers and being subjected to torture and ill treatment inside these vehicles. After the transferment, the integration stage starts, which is happens most of the time in the police station or integration centers in legal settlements or outposts. And this integration process takes many hours, sometimes, especially in the current events, taking days. During this time, the children are being also blindfolded, handcuffed, deprived from their basic rights, food, water, sanitation, even calling families. Most of, like, rarely, let's say 10% of the cases that we manage to collect, the children have a chance to speak with a lawyer before being integrated by the integrator or intelligence officer. And then after this process of integration, the hearing in the courts happened or occur. So after that, the children are being referred to the military court for conviction. As you can see on the screen, the slide, that it's written 24 to 72 hours. This depends on the age of the child. But this procedure or this let's say referral used to happen before the current events, before the October 7th. However, after that, the referral to the courts used to happen after 8 days. So 8 days under integration in the integration centers, despite the age, despite the gender, despite many differences. Also, in this stage nowadays in hearing courts, unfortunately, it's stopped to be in person. So it started to happen, such as having a video call or video link. So the child is being placed in a room with two soldiers and pressuring him not to say everything, and the judges are in different room, and even the lawyer in the third room. So it's been difficult for the lawyer to have a legal conversation with the child before being sentence. The fifth stage is the sentence, which is taking three parts, or let's say three folds. The imprisonment, a fine, a monetary fine, and the third one is suspended sentence. Most of the detention is taking place between 3 months to 12. But nowadays, unfortunately, it's taking more than that because of the situation and because of the violence that happening in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. So I guess you will wonder about the age of criminality. So according to the military courts or military law, 12 is the age of the criminal responsibility. But unfortunately, that doesn't mean that children under 12 are not being subjected to be arrested or integrated. And we documented many cases such this, for children are 7-year-old, 8-year-old being subjected to integration for 5 hours and dropped about half a mile away from their village. Let's say 4 days ago, specifically in the 7th of November, the Israeli authorities just announced that there is no specific age of criminal responsibility for children. So unfortunately, this means that children, despite the age, they will be detained even if they were 2, 3, 4, 5 year old. The children who are between ages 16 and 18, unfortunately, are facing the same penalties as adults. So that means that they've been treated as adults, not considering their childhood. And lastly, most of the charges that children are committed is throwing stones, which carries maximum sentence of 10 to 20 years, depending on the circumstances of the incident. However, nowadays, unfortunately, not only throwing stones, but also suspicion, or let's say, if there is any suspicion of using social media, like liking a post or sharing a post, or at least having a Telegram account. As I mentioned before, that we collect testimonies and affidavits from children who are being detained and released or still in a prison. And these percentages are showing of the torture and ill treatment of Palestinian children inside the military detentions. Basically, these percentages are the sum up from 838 testimonies and affidavits we managed to collect between January 2016 till December 2023. As you can see, the highest percentages, such as 97, no family member during integration, 85, not informed of reason of arrest after being arrested, strip searched, blindfolded, deprived from their basic rights, handcuffed, and many other violations and ill treatment that they're facing. Speaking about the torture and the treatment, I'd like to speak about this child who we documented his case, and hopefully his family were open to share his information. Otherwise, nowadays, unfortunately, because of the security concerns and for the fear from a possible retaliation in the future, it's been difficult and challenging to share such stories. But this is Majd, a 14-year-old. Majd from a village called Azzounet, and it's surrounded with many illegal Israeli settlements. And basically, it has one entrance, and which is controlled by the Israeli forces. So they open it and they close it whenever they would like. Majd was walking with his friends close to the entrance, and they were chased by the Israeli vehicle. Unfortunately, he couldn't manage to take cover with his friends, so he was detained and tortured for 24 hours. And threatened to be strangled, and also being tortured inside the military vehicle and the integration centers. After those 24 hours of depriving from food, water, sanitation, even calling a family and a lawyer, he was dropped on the roadside, and because of the torture, he couldn't walk to his village. They drop him about 2 kilometers away from his village, and then a Palestinian driver saw him and drop him in the hospital in Kalkilia city. And after 24 hours, the family knew what happened with their child. So speaking about detention, there is a different type of detention that the Palestinian children are facing in the OBT, and specifically it's called administrative detention. So basically it's a form of imprisonment without a charge or trial. As they say, it's based on secret evidence. The family of the child, even the lawyer of the child, can't see this file or evidence. And according to the military courts, the duration of this type of detention is up to 6 months, which can be renewed definitely. It's been renewed many times for children, and some of the children are still in the prison, were detained 2 or 1.5 years ago. So I'd like to keep you to listen to this story of this child about his detention, and about the whole process and the psychological and physical trauma that he's suffering
اسمي
from.
صهيب، واعتقلت 6 أشهر إداري على فترتين بدون تهم. كنت بجنب الجدار وفجأة انتبهوا لي الجنود وأطلقوا النار علي عشان أوقف، فهجموا علي بعد ما وقفت، ربطوني وضربوني بوكسات شلاليط وربطوا لي عيني ويدي وجري. طبعا قعدت في الشمس حدود 4 5 ساعات، وبعدين أخذوني لففوني بالمستوطنات وهون وهون. ضليت ألفلف للساعة تقريبا 12:30 12 1 بالليل، وأخذوني بعدها على السجن، على سجن مجد. أول 17 يوم اللي أنا انحبست فيهن كنت أنزل محاكم فيهن واستجواب. كان يجي عند المحامي ويقول لي إني بدي أروح، وما فيش إشي أثبت علي، وعشان هيك حكموني إداري. فيش دليل يعني إنهم يحكموني حكم عادي، حكموني إداري. لما خلص حكمي الأول الإداري انبسطت إنه بدي أروح على أسلم على أهلي، ولكن الناس اللي كنت أعرفهم ولكن أحبابي. وتفاجأت مرة واحدة إنهم جابوا لي كمان ورقة مكتوب فيها 3 أشهر إداري، ورديت رجعت على السجن وعلى البرش اللي كنت قاعد عليه، وضليت أفكر يعني أيامها وكانت اللحظة صعبة علي. انصدمت بوقتها، بطلت أختلط مع الناس، صرت قعدت جوا بس بالغرفة، بطلت أحكي مع حدا، صعب إنه الواحد يخلص من حكم ويجي كمان حكم بنفس الوقت. لما أنهيت الحكم الثاني الإداري بقيت مجهز حالي إني أروح حلقت ولبست أوعية وجهزت حالي، وبقيت مجهز حالي بنفس الوقت إنه تجيني كمان ورقة عشان ما تفاجئش بالإداري الثالث. بعد ما روحت من السجن طبعا خربت حياتي من ناحية إنه أنا كنت أشتغل شغل ظابط معاي وخرب شغلي، وكنت ناوي إني أكمل دراستي بعد ما قبل ما أنحبس نفسيتي تغيرت وبطل إلي نفس لا أكمل دراسي ولا أرجع ولا أختلط مع الناس، يعني خربت حياتي بسبب السجن.
So, the whole previous speaking about the detention of children, it's only in West Bank and East Jerusalem. But about what's happening in Gaza, unfortunately, after the ground invasion in last October, there is many cases have been triggered and documented by international organizations that are based in Gaza Strip, and it's figured out that there is many children have been forcibly disappeared, and until now nothing disclosed about their numbers and whereabouts. About this number that's showing 3,000 Palestinians, including children, is actually estimated by one of the organizations that working there, but until now there is no any accurate numbers and whereabouts of these Palestinians, including children, have been detained in Gaza Strip. Unfortunately, this huge number, let's say a record number of detention that classifies Palestinian, including children, as under the unlawful combatant law, that is giving a status of enemy fighter instead of a status of prisoner of war. And it's kind of breaching the international law according to Geneva Convention, fourth convention. About the situation of children, unfortunately, in the prisons, and say about the ones who are from West Bank and East Jerusalem, it's been challenging before the October 7th, but unfortunately, after this events have been challenging triple. They've been deprived from their basic rights inside the prisons, such as electricity, stationery for education, and even being placed in the crowded prison cells. And also, most of the families and parents of these children have very little to no information about these about their children, unless if there is a permission for lawyers to access the Israeli detention. Speaking about the numbers of Palestinian children being detained until September 2024, according to the Israeli Prison Service, there is 242 Palestinian children, including 85 have been detained under administrative detention. So the second violation is depriving from their right to live and develop in the OBT. So in West Bank, unfortunately, since the beginning of this year, 87 Palestinian children have been killed, including 2 Palestinian holding American citizenship, and 168 Palestinians have been killed since the full-scale operation in the Gaza Strip. About the developing of children in the West Bank, unfortunately, many children are facing psychological traumas after witnessing a destruction of their infrastructure, of their communities, and even demolishing of their houses and schools. And unfortunately, this experience considered a wide range of physical trauma that the children are suffering from witnessing such violations. Speaking about lost childhood in Gaza Strip, as we all hear in the news and UN reports that Gaza became a graveyard for children. Thousands have been killed, hundreds have been killed before being born, and 800, more than 800 have been killed who are less than 1 year. Honestly, many violations are happening in Gaza, but the most that are triggering nowadays is the starvation and the death caused by starvation, the long life disabilities and maiming, and as we can hear from the UN reports and international organizations, that Gaza is a home of the largest number of amputee children. And many other children, unfortunately, are facing their death because of the lack of medical care and malnutrition. I'll leave you with these two stories of two girls so they can reflect what they're suffering.
أنا بنتي بالليل بتصرخ من كتر يعني الوجع اللي هي فيه، وأنا حاليا مش متوفر لي لا علاج ولا أكل، هذه لها أكل خاص مش متوفر نهائيا في المكان اللي إحنا فيه هنا. أنا بنتي هذه كان وزنها 15 كيلو، بنتي حاليا العظم بين من كتر قلة الغذاء، ما فيش غذاء إلها، فيش أكل خاص إلها هنا مش موجود نهائيا. إحنا بنعيش في هذه الخيمة زي ما أنتم شايفين، خيمتنا هذا المتواضع بنعيش فيها 6 أنفار، يعني يا دوبنا نلز بعض لز. حياتنا هنا مأساوية جدا، ما فيش إمكانيات للحياة هنا بالمرة، لا كهرباء ولا مية ولا أكل ولا إشي صحي. بعدين بالنهار بتكون شوب حريقة. بنتي هذه بتتشنج من كتر السخانة والحرارة اللي في الخيمة، تتشنج. وأنا عن جد والله مش عارفة إيش أعمل معاها، تعبت كتير تعبت هنا في الخيمة هذه. أطفالنا بتموت، أطفالنا قاعدة بتموت منا، حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل. يعني بدنا إحنا العالم ينظر لنا بعين الرحمة. تعبنا. شوف البنت، شوف إيش حالها صار، شوفوا كيف حالها صار، عظم البنت صارت.
أنا طفلة ملك، عمري 10 سنين. أنا تصورت في بداية الحرب. أنا كنت على الباب ألعب مع بنات عمي، فجأة صارت هواية وما سمعناش فيها حاجة. أنا تصورت صدية بوجهي وأنا ما حسيت بحاجة.
إصابتها كانت بالغة في الوجه، تسبب لها اللي هو كسر في الفك السفلي، وتريد حاليا اللي هو زراعة عظام للفك السفلي. ركبوا لها جسر.
ما كنتش أتكلم ولا أكل ولا أشرب، وكنت أكتب لهم كتابة يا بالإشارات.
ممكن تخجل من طلعتها في الشوارع. الأولاد البنات اللي بيلعبوا معها مرات بتتضايق كتير.
متدمر البيت، في قذائف وفي حجار، في حصمة، وفي الدار مفتحة، ومش عارفين نقعد فيها يعني.
Moving to the third most or the trending violation that Palestinian children are suffering is the violation of right of education. I'll start with Gaza because, as most of you see, that the multiple targeting of schools that turned out to be as sheltering centers, and unfortunately, these schools became non-operational even after this genocide ends soon, but also hundreds of thousands of Palestinians been deprived from their education in Gaza. And many schools, according to the UN reports, over 500 schools have been targeted in 1 year, and also 85% of these educational facilities became non-operational because of the multiple targeting. Speaking about violation of education in West Bank, as I mentioned before, demolishing schools, and even as you may witness the media before a month ago about illegal settlers violating and attacking schools of Bedouin communities in Jericho area. Also, some students who are living in areas that are surrounded with Israeli settlements and checkpoints, they are subjected and facing arrest, detention, violence, and even harassment from the Israeli forces and also the settlers. And unfortunately, this prohibits the UN Convention of Right of the Child that ensures their right to have a safe learning environment. Unfortunately, this is not existing in OBT area. The fourth violation, which is the most is happening right now in both West Bank and Gaza. So despite the whole situation is happening regarding using children as human shields, this undermines their right of childhood and increase their suffering and having and experiencing psychological traumas. And of course, this clear breach of their dignity and freedom, and causing a lasting damage. In Gaza Strip, our field researchers in Gaza managed to document some cases of using children as a human shields with their parents. In April, during the siege of Al Shifa Hospital. So basically, they forced the Israeli forces forced the children to walk alongside the Israeli tanks during the besiege of the hospital, and they were put in front of this tank and walking and being handcuffed and controlled by the Israeli forces. Same as happened with other family that were screaming and playing that they having children, but unfortunately, despite this, they were detained and used as a human shield during innovation in Gaza city. Many stories of using children in Gaza, and it became alerting nowadays in Gaza, and even some children are being subjected to this violation during humanitarian aid conveys, such as the one happened in Rashid Street a few months ago, and they were taking and used as human shields and also targeted by the drones. Speaking about this violation in West Bank, so it increased nowadays during the military operations in the Palestinian communities, and specifically in the refugees camps. Since 2000, this IB managed to document 34 cases of using children as a human shields. 8 of these cases occurred since November 2022. One of these 8 cases was using 2 toddlers, 2-year-old, as a human shield in Aqba Jebel refugee camp in Jericho during military operation, and when the Israeli forces stormed the camp. Lastly, the last violation that's happening specifically in West Bank and East Jerusalem is torturing the Palestinian communities and the parents of Palestinian children by withholding the bodies of their beloved ones. So since 2016, we managed to document 48 cases of confiscating the bodies of deceased Palestinian children, and 18 of these cases happened since the October 7th, and some of these bodies have been released and handed to the families, around 5 exactly, but still 37 Palestinian children's bodies remained with the Israeli forces. the box in the right is the last case of confiscating a body of a Palestinian children who was shot and killed in August. Unfortunately, his body was taken by the Israeli forces after being shot in his thigh, and was examined and held under autopsy. But unfortunately, after that, the Israeli forces refused to release the body to the family so they can have a proper funeral for the child. And finally, I'd like to just sum up and tell you if you would like to keep in touch, please follow up on our social media platforms, DCIB and No Way to Treat a Child, and also sign up for our email list to have the most updates about the suffering of Palestinian children. Tan, mic for you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this information. It's very heavy information, but it's really important to know all the facts. So thank you so much for taking the time to share today.
My pleasure.
If anyone has questions, please put it in the chat for Malik. And I think there was one question about how people could access this information later on. Like, does DCI Palestine produce reports regularly about
Sure.
this, and how do we access that?
Sure. So basically, the whole information that I spoke about in this presentation, it's shared in our website, dcib.org. You can see and read the whole reports about these children, about the fatalities. So we have news alerts of the most, or let's say the latest violations of Palestinian children, both in West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza Strip. And also keep informed about these updates, you can sign up for our email list.
Awesome, thank you.
You're
And I have one question in terms of I believe it was in 2021, Israel had launched like a misinformation campaign and had basically labeled DCI Palestine as a terrorist organization. So how has that affected your work the last few years? And obviously since October it's gotten harder, but in terms of like the way the organization has had to operate and relationships with other governments, yeah, I would love to hear a little bit about like
Sure,
how,
thank you.
yeah, the organization has been reacting to that.
Thank you. So before the October 7th, our office was raided and stormed by the Israeli forces, and many cases have been confiscated, and even devices and many other, let's say, files and information that used to be stored and archived in our office. However, during these times, until now, hopefully, and we hope that the situation stays as it is, we're not targeted directly, but however, last 2 months ago, yes, the Israeli authorities published a report about the situation that's occurring in West Bank, and between the lines, they mentioned that the CIB is reporting a false information about targeting Palestinian children in West Bank and East Jerusalem. And they urge the people not to listen to our, or let's say, to read our reports and news alerts and features that we are publishing on the social media and the website, and even speaking in such webinars. Of course, the situation is challenging nowadays, and no one knows what's the upcoming retaliations that's going to happen, but hope not. But to mention that one of the 6 organizations that were classified and designated was raided and closed a few weeks ago, I think 1 month ago. And even they arrested one of the staff that's working there. So hoping that things not being escalated and without any possible retaliation in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, we hope that things will be safe for you and continue to be safe for you. So someone asked, which organizations do you share your findings with, and do you submit any of this evidence to international organizations, international bodies?
Mhm. Thanks for this question, but I'd like to stop sharing if that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, feel free.
Amazing. Okay, pause. Sorry, stop sharing. So speaking about sharing these information, of course, one of the missions as advocacy unit that we are doing is that sharing such these informations with the committees and treat bodies, UN agencies. So give update report of what's going on for a violation of human rights of Palestinian children to the committee of CRC. And also nowadays we are working in raising a complaint against the Israeli forces regarding deliberate targeting of Palestinian children in the OBT, specifically in West Bank and East Jerusalem. And also with this documentation and monitoring that we are doing in Gaza as well, we're trying to link with other organizations that working on the ground in Gaza Strip to share such as informations of children who are targeted or injured or classified under wounded child no surviving family. And we are doing this process with UNICEF. And also we are doing this documentation because Palestinian children are not numbers, as we're always saying. They have special stories and dreams, and we have to highlight these things.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And before we enter the action section today, I do want to also ask how we can support DCI Palestine's work, if there's any current campaigns,
Sure.
if you want to share something.
Sure. Thanks, Fan. So basically what's the most important that I would like to share in this session is that in 20th of this month, 20th of November, is the International Children or Child Day. And this IB is willing to make or do a webinar focusing on the violations of Palestinian children's rights. And we're having children live from Gaza Strip, so they can share their stories and so they can hear their stories directly. And after that, we are willing to raise a donation for these children and many children others. So if anyone would like to sign up for this webinar, it's shared on our website and even social media who would like to sign up. We are most welcome all.
Thank you. And that sounds like a really important event. So 20th November, let me link everyone to the website so everyone can just see the website as well on the chat. And then you said that we can sign up on the website.
Yes.
Okay. So I just linked it. So if people want to or I think this one might be the international one. So is there like there's like a Palestine specific page as well? I don't know if I linked the correct website, so you can correct me and add it to the chat.
No worries. I'm gonna do so as well. So
Okay, awesome.
and of course, we're about to share a news alert about this day. And please, anyone who's interested to keep following our website regarding this day. Here is the website.
Awesome. Thank you. So
Yep.
we'll have that, and we'll make sure to also share it on Sabil's newsletter so people can join this. Is there anything else that you would like the audience to know, or anything you would like to share in regards to the work that you do or the research?
Well, if you want me to speak about the situation and the suffering of children in the OBT, that will take many hours and even days. However, I did my best to highlight the most latest violations that taking place in the region, and of course, unfortunately, there is no any As we can see, anyone is stopping, or any entity is stopping this genocide and this targeting. And after what's going on, and even let's say the elections of US, the situation is exaggerating and escalated. So no one knows what will happen in even West Bank. However, I would like to anyone who is happy and interested to read about our latest reports. So in September, we shared a report about targeting childhood in the occupied West Bank. I'll just provide the link, and this report highlights the targeting of children since October 7th, 2023 till 31st of July 2024. And basically, in this report, we are analyzing the type of targeting, the used weapons, and many, let's say, many new record of numbers have been showing that children have been targeted in deliberate way, such as 25 Palestinian children have been killed by Israeli drone missiles. And 40% of these cases that we highlighted in this report shows that these children, after being shot and laying down fatally bleeding, they were deprived from having medical care. So the Israeli forces stopped the ambulances and even the paramedics to provide health care for these children. So many stories in my mind to speak about these children, and many honestly horrible stories that we are receiving from our field researchers in Gaza. And by the way, we are having 4 field researchers in Gaza Strip, and they are dedicating their time to collect and document the violations that the Palestinian children are suffering there. And many reports and features and news alerts that we publish on the website that speaks about these children and their suffering. So I'll leave it for everyone to check the website, because speaking is gonna take much longer than we supposed to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Malak. And I know it's such a hard situation, so our solidarity with you and our thoughts with you, as you know, continue to work and be in this situation. I believe DCI Palestine also has a donation page, so one
Yes.
of our actions today too, I'll make sure to share the link so that we can, if you have the ability to donate, you can also do that. Thank you also for sharing the link, and so make sure to check out their reports. So I don't think there's any other questions. So I'll
I
turn
see
now
someone is
to
raising hand.
Oh, awesome, John Howard. Yes, perfect.
We can't hear you, sir. Unmute yourself, please.
Oh, here, I'm trying to get you to unmute. Let's see. Okay, awesome.
Does the CIP supply lawyers doing presentations at Sabeel and taking people on tours to offer prisons for court hearings?
You mean, sir, that if the CIB is taking such initiative of following with the courts, say international courts and entities?
Through Sabeel, taking Sabeel tours in groups for doing presentations at Sabeel and taking people to courts from Sabeel?
So basically, what I understand from you that yes, this IB is doing advocacy tours to advocate for more for Palestinian children and their violations. And also, secondly, we are trying our best to link with the ICC and ICJ to follow up on these violations and held accountable the Israeli forces of such horrible events that are happening in Gaza Strip and West Bank. So we can say yes. And lastly and lately, we are working with South Africa governmental court to file a complaint against the Israeli soldiers, or let's say forces, and the police for targeting Palestinian children in Palestine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any last questions before we move to the action section? Just we want to make sure we're not missing anyone. I don't see anything in the chat. So we can turn, if Malik, if you do need to leave, and you feel free to, you can also stay. We'll just jump into our action section now. So this week we have, I think some of the actions haven't been updated, but I'll just make sure to share the link again. Also make sure to share the link to DCI Palestine for the donation page, at least, so that if you have the means to donate, you can do that. And then if you have anything in terms of actions that are happening in your own community, we can have some time for discussion. And I'll leave like about 10 minutes for all of us to just complete the actions and then share also any actions in the chat so that people can also click on that and do that type of work. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. And yeah, feel free to have the discussion, and I'll link anything else as well that I see.
Tan, may I speak? Or there's someone is
Yes,
raising hand.
absolutely.
If
Yeah.
there's
Mary Ann.
Hi, thank you. I'm sorry that I'm just jumping in now. I'm
worries.
Malak. I'm sorry I didn't hear your presentation. It's exciting to hear about the contribution to the ICJ. I wanted to give people a heads up that Bernie Sanders has 6 resolutions that possibly will be voted on this starting today up until the recess of the Senate to the 21st of November. So we are encouraged to vote to our call into our senators across the country to say vote yes on the resolutions 110 through 116 to end U.S. arms to Israel. This is a very, very critical vote. And so I'll put the phone number and the resolution, Senate resolution numbers in the chat. But we need to stop this. And speaking of actions, there's a group of us, we're trying to get a coalition of different people and different groups to go to our federal building this Friday. And there'll be multiple variations of presence there. Some will risk, I shouldn't be naming it out loud, but you guys can guess what I'm talking about. So thank you. And I'm going to the delegation with the delegation in December and inviting people to Sabeel.
Amazing.
More.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, if you can put this in the chat, we'll make sure that people can you know, help support this initiative. I think it's really important. And hopefully I'll also see you in December. John Howard,
Yeah.
do you have your hand up? Do you still have a question or anything? Oh no, okay. I think Randy also I'll just read his chat. As early as today, the House of Representatives could vote on legislation that would give the incoming Trump administration the power to unilaterally shut down nonprofit organizations it doesn't like, including DCIP. The Trump-chosen Treasury Secretary could be able to strip them of their nonprofit status without due process. Email your House member of Congress now and demand that they vote no on HR 9495. So that's another Congress-related action that you can do. A Jewish Voice for Peace email.
Many thanks to your support. That means a lot to Palestinian children, even to the whole Palestinians, and to the ones who are going and facing the government, let's say, places. Please stay safe, all of you, please.
All right, so I'll stay on for a few more minutes until 7:10 or 6, yeah, 7:10. until everyone finishes the actions. Feel free to also put in the chat once you like complete any of the actions. And if you have any questions as well, make sure to put in the chat and I'll make sure to answer it. And Carol also has another event in the Charlotte area on November 17th. So that's a community event that you can attend if you're in North Carolina.